If your parents are still alive and you haven't cut off contact with them because of conflict, spending time with the parents is important. They hopefully have guided you through life until where you are now and will probably keep doing so until the tables turn and you'll take care of them. But finding time, or even just finding something meaningful you like doing together, is easier said than done. To start off, I got the idea for this video from something Markiplier said about the death of his father a while back.
About the timeline of your life and how much time you spend with your parents. And they were saying, like, by the time you're 18, you've spent like 90% of your time with your parents. My dad died when I was 18. When I heard that, that was the most comforting thing I've ever heard in my life, because it meant I got 90% of the time that I would have had with my dad. If I didn't know that, if I'd gone my whole life without ever knowing that, I would have gone the rest of my life wishing for a little more time.
Now, as he said, for him, already having spent 90% of his time with his dad is comforting. And I get it. That means he missed out on 10%, but he can still be grateful for the 90. Your job now is to change that statistic. Those 90% came from living with your parents, being dependent on them and them guiding you through hobbies, school, and your early social life. Changing the statistic means spending more time with your parents after you turn 18. This requires conscious effort, because now you have your own life going on. Even more so if you don't live with your parents anymore. And the strange thing is that most people don't realize this change is happening while it's happening. When you're a kid, time with your parents is automatic. You eat together because you live in the same house. You go shopping together because you can't drive yourself. Then slowly, all of that disappears. You move out or you get busy with work. University, relationships, hobbies, and suddenly weeks pass without a proper conversation. Not because you don't love your parents, not because anything is wrong, just because nobody is deliberately making time anymore. That's why I think it's useful to think about time with your parents the same way we think about time with friends. If a friend moved across the country, you wouldn't expect the friendship to survive without messages, calls, visits, or shared experiences. The relationship doesn't maintain itself, you maintain it. And the good news is that changing the statistic doesn't require huge gestures. You don't need to book expensive trips or organize some perfect family activity every weekend. Sometimes it's as simple as calling them while walking home. The key to quality time is discomfort, similar to most other things in life. Doing things your parents like doing simply for the sake of spending time with each other is good. Because the next step is doing things you like, which they may find boring. Inviting them into parts of your life they normally wouldn't see. Engaging in each other's interests will also help you understand each other better. Because when people talk about spending time together, they're often imagining special moments. But most meaningful relationships aren't built on those moments. They're built on ordinary ones. The conversation during a car ride, the walk after dinner, the hours spent fixing something that should have taken 10 minutes. The moments that don't feel important while they're happening. The moments that become important later. And if you're lucky enough to still have your parents around, you have an opportunity that gets smaller every year, as morbid as it sounds. Every year you put off spending time together is a year that can never be added back later. So if Markiplier found comfort in having experienced 90% of the time he would ever have with his father, maybe the goal for the rest of us should be to push that number higher. To make sure that when we eventually look back, the majority of our memories with our parents weren't just created before we became adults. To make sure some of the best ones were created after.